Dear audience, I believe we have our next and last resource person speaker for today, Professor Jeet Dogra from India. Uh, Professor Jeet, are you with us? Dr. Jeet, your microphone is mute. Can you hear us? Do you hear us, Professor Jeet?
Are you getting my voice? Yes, I'm here,
Yes,
Dr.
yes,
Yusuf.
yes. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
So
Can we start within 2-3 minutes or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are early to the time, so you can
Okay.
you can take your time, please. Just let me know when you're ready, and I can start with your brief
Okay.
introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just 5 minutes, then we'll
Yeah,
start.
please.
Thank you, Yusuf.
Dear audience, before Dr. Jeet start, I will go with the program schedule 1 second. Just give me a second. Dear audience, after Professor Jeet Dogra from India, it will be our last session. Tomorrow we will start exactly at 9:30 Dhaka time. We will start with Professor Chihan, and it is an honor to have Professor Chihan, although it will be midnight in USA. So he has kindly given his time for us at 12:30 and Florida time. He will be with us. So I would request everyone to be at the virtual platform beforehand 9:30 so that we can start exactly on time for Professor Chihan. After Professor Chihan, we'll have Mr. Al Amin, General Manager of Six Seasons Hotel, Dhaka. He'll be talking with us on the consumer preference in post-pandemic situation. We will then have Professor Iana, Professor Aysen Istin from Turkey. After Professor Aysen Istin, we will have Professor Dr. Bodrujaman Bhuya, the chair of Dhaka University Tourism Department. Then we will go for our lunch, and then we will have Mr. Shahid Hamid, FIH, the chairman of PATA, Bangladesh chapter. After him, we will have Professor Dr. Alfonso Vargas Sanchez from Spain to join with us, followed by Professor Dr. Celia Ramos from Portugal, and our last speaker will be from United Kingdom, Professor Dr. Dimitris Bohalis. So I would like to request and invite you once again to be on the platform on time tomorrow 9:30 at Dhaka time. We will start our session. Meanwhile, if you have any problem, please you can drop us an email at cthm.e-Symposium@iubat.edu, or you can also use my personal email address to send me your questions, your concerns regarding this e-Symposium. And we already have received some of the presentation from our distinguished respected speakers, and we hope to receive them all by tomorrow. So if you have anything to ask, anything to get, please let us know. So Professor Jeet Dogra is already uh, on his platform to ready to share his thought. Before, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Professor Jeet. Professor Dr. Jeet Dogra is an assistant professor from Indian Institution of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM. It was an honor to have you as our respected speaker. And Professor Jeet will be talking on the topic of destination branding and crisis, erudition from the literature. Professor Dr. Jeet Dogra is currently working as an assistant professor in Indian Institution of Tourism and Travel Management, an autonomous body under the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Prior to this position, he worked at the Department of Tourism and Travel Management, Central University of Jammu, India in 2012 as an assistant professor. His teaching specialty involves tourism destination marketing, business tourism research methods, business statistics, tourism business environment, strategy for tourism destination, MICE, introduction to tourism. Professor Jeet was awarded his PhD degree back in 2014 from the School of Hospitality and Tourism, University of Jammu, India. His current research interests are destination branding and marketing, and he has published a good number of journal articles, book reviews in this particular area. He is also the lifetime member of Indian Tourism and Hospitality Congress, ITC, and the Youth Hostel Association of India, WHAI. We are really humbled and honored to have Professor Jeet with us. So I would like to request Professor Jeet to start with his deliberation. Thank you, Professor Jeet.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Dr. Yusuf Khan, for inviting me over there, and many congratulations to you and to your department for organizing such 2 days international e-Symposium on current issues in tourism. And beyond that, first of all, I'm also thankful to Professor Dr. Abdul Rab, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of International University of Business, Agriculture and Technology, and also thankful to Professor Dr. Hamida Akhtar Begum, the Pro Vice Chancellor of IUBAT. So before starting there, it's a namaste from India to everyone, to all the participants, to all the students there. And I'm seeing the international people are also sitting over there. And previously I was listening to Dr. Aziz, the greater inputs about his lifetime experience and being the, you can say, early researcher in that tourism field. So I'm so humbled and honored to listen about the experience. So why not wasting time over there? Let me share my talk, my presentation, and then we'll start further. So today, as Dr. Yusuf has already introduced, I'll talk about from my research area, that is destination branding and crisis. So nowadays, this is a buzzword, hashtag destination branding, hashtag COVID-19, hashtag crisis, and then we'll try to learn through from the literature, like how we have to see in that particular situation arising there and how we have to cope up with that. Let's go back to the time, because we know that tourism across the globe, internationally, as well as regionally and locally, it's already has passed a lot of crises. And there is a separate, we can say, subsection under the tourism. Normally when we are sharing with the students and with the scholars that crisis management plans you should have. It's not all about plan A, we should have plan B and C also there, and how we have responded. Let's see. So let's see what's there in my today talk over that. So these are the important points in that presentation. Destination branding, from crisis to recovery, destination image repair specifically during crisis, rebranding tourism hotspots, and then the conclusions that included the how to rebrand following a crisis. So these are the inclusions there in that presentation. We'll just try to learn out of it, like maybe few keywords, maybe few that we can say takeaways, that maybe the policymakers or as an academician having the responsibility under the global tourism fraternity, that we have to motivate the younger generations coming there. And yes, definitely, because I'm the chairman admissions also from my institute, so people are having a lot of queries over there, like tourism is down and tourism and this and that like thing. But the best reply is that we'll come back with bank. Okay, let's taking about what is their takeaways from that particular research there. We'll take some keywords, because in that research there are destination branding from crisis to recovery. So in that research, statistically it is proved that, okay, let's go here and let's try to understand what is the background of that study. What is the background? So this is what we have to understand. So in that particular case, after the war in 1980, So Zimbabwe, one of the countries in African continent, wanted to dissociate itself from the negative past. So this is what the background there. That is the colonial system, the war, sanctions, and other social ills, which had contributed to negative publicity during that time. So this is, let's try to understand what is the, in that table. So it is the data collection, and then there are few important points over there, important keywords that normally we are using in the destination marketing dictionary. See over here, destination image is important. What is that perception about the brand in the visitor mind? So this is the important point. And then destination personality. So they have just research on these all keywords. And essence is there, brand culture is there, brand blueprint, character, and the other ingredients there. And then the we'll see that out of these all important points in that particular research, so all the branding identity selling points, so this is the mean value. It means that when we're talking about the recovery and when we have to use the destination brand in that, so image, destination image is the most important point. This is what proved in that research. There are a few more information related to that. Let's go to the next slide and try to understand. Before that, there were the negative comments about Zimbabwe as a tourist destination. What is that? It's written there: bad publicity, poor service delivery, not delivering on the brand promise. The point that why we are reading these cases, so that maybe when we have to go through the past events, there is always a new learnings out of it. So whenever we have to make the recovery plans in that, so we can implement those learnings, and that that definitely will help us to overcome it. So it is again written there, over dependency. So these were the items that written there. And then see, strongly agree, if we'll see the percentage there, so the highest percentage is written there, no defined tourism destination marketing strategy. So from this point we can understand that how important is it, how much important this point when we're talking about tourism marketing strategy, how much important. So then about the DMO, destination marketing organization, so Zimbabwe tourism brand, so it's written after this. So there are so many points there, but when we're talking about the highest point that really make an impact, and that is statistically it is 3.22. So this is, let's go back over there. So it means that this brand should have a distinctive advantage over its competitors. So what are the competitors of as compared as thing thought by the Zimbabwe tourism board, and these are the competitor destinations nowadays, even in tourism also. So we have to deal with our competitors. We should have the competitive strategies when we have to deal with that. So these were the competitors over that, and then that is why it is written there. So destination marketing strategy, it should be there. So this is again the learning for the DMOs. Let's go to the next slide and try to understand the most appropriate strategy to reposition the brand, because after the current pandemic, DMOs will have to reposition. They have to think about the repositioning of their destinations, because what about the image pre-corona and what about the image during corona, and then after that pandemic, there is a need that they have to reposition the brand. And this also have proved in that particular research that there is a need in repositioning. So the first important point is the repositioning of the image rebuilding. So they have to work on it. Look at the percentage there, it's nearby 50%. So I have to work on this repositioning of the destination. Some of the other points that we can take away from that case is that point, when we are talking about in marketing, we are always talking about the holistic development. So holistic is when we're talking about the involvement of all the stakeholders there. It is not only from the government side, it is not only from the non-government bodies, the natives, the indigenous people participation, ultimately that is again important. So this is the learning out of that. Like when we are talking about the branding there, so in that particular study, so we learn that destination image is important when we're talking, and then the marketing strategies we have to again reposition it. Again reposition is, so then we'll present our destination as a safer destination, not in terms of security saving, but also now the new point is hygiene. Health hygiene is again one of the important point when we're talking about that. So this is the learning in that particular thing. When we're talking about the conclusion point, there are some of the point there. While branding is a strategic tool, absolutely right, for repositioning a destination, the result show that under a crisis situation, branding alone cannot do anything. So I already shared that it is all about 360-degree holistic development. We have to involve all the stakeholders there. We are continuously talking about that, but when it comes to the policy framing, policy implementing, and again the policy, we have to see that whether it's be implemented as per the desired level. So again, we have to actually implement that this thing. We have to invite the stakeholder. A lot of my projects when I've implemented at the ground level and working along with the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. So a lot of projects there we have visited the far-flung areas also. So there are people, so they are giving that feeling that like people are coming over there, the government bodies, and they are kind of a feeling that these people are exploiting us and they don't have any concern for the indigenous or the native people. This kind of behavior, there is a need that tourism academician, researcher, practitioner, industry people, collectively we have to give a message to the natives or to the indigenous people when we are developing tourism, or when we are doing any marketing or branding activities for the native people, so that yes, we are not here to exploit you, we are here to explore more opportunities where it should be a win-win situation for both the uh, service delivery and the service taker. So this is the point. Another conclusion point, it's written there, Zimbabwe has to protect its brand, all the stakeholders should come together. This is the major learning in that point. That is why I'm giving the importance again and again to that we have to come together. Then it is all about that how we have to come up with the crisis management. It is normally saying that a two person is better than one. So this is what the point is, that when we have the approach 360-degree from all the stakeholders, definitely the policies will make that this become will be helped to overcome this pandemic. So this is what the major learning of that paper. Let's go to the next one. So next paper is about the important that we already have seen, image. So what the image and all that. The background is again Arab Spring uprising received intensive coverage and had a negative effect. So when we're talking about the rebranding or the crisis thing, so there is always a background over there. There is a need to understand that, and how that this in that study again focusing on how that this DMO restore a positive image through the three important point: source, message, audience. So this is the three important points in that particular case study. We'll see. Let's understand the research questions. There are three research questions there. Public relations crisis techniques, what kind of these they have implemented, like text, slogans, and visuals. So they used media policies and relationships. It is again important because I belong to a state of Jammu and Kashmir, and I know that when uh, there is a problem in one minute 1 kilometer of the area, and the kind of the media is projecting like there is like the whole state is burning. So this is again point that I have to see. That is why point number two is again we have to give the preference to that. And the important point is again marketing initiatives, what kind of innovative like cultural and sports events written over there, because this is again helping to make the destination image and to revive the destination image there. Let's try to understand that. So after this case study, it is there are three type of strategies implemented, like source, message, and audience. And what are the subsectors there? First is cooperation and media relations. This is important. Have to do it. Have to do it, because ultimately the media normally in my societies we are talking like media is like the fourth thumb of the democracy. So that is why again media is important. And then uh, it's a kind of perception that during in that particular region, so there is a threatening and blocking the media. So there is a need to clarify it. There is a need to proper communicate to that like these kind of things are not happening at the ground level. And then the important point is finding alternatives. That is why I told you that it is not in present time, it's not all about plan A. We should have B and C. We have to frame B and C in such a way as good as A. So this is the point, and we should know that whenever the tourism or any sector in future, when we have to going further, every day or in a or after year, after stipulated period of time, we have to ready ourselves to face the crisis. Sometimes crisis of a shorter term duration and sometimes of a longer term duration. So this is important. Normally students are asking in classes like, sir, you're teaching like that, like everything is so perfect in this world, but actually it is not. Once the student have crossed the gates of our university, when they have to work in the real life situations, then they realize that every day while working in the industry or working in anywhere, any of the organization, you have to work like a crisis manager. So you have to think out of the box. So this is the point. Next is message strategy. What kind of message you are giving, and that message should improve your destination image, ignoring, limiting, narrowing, or reducing the scale of the crisis. This is what we can do. Normally what we are doing, it is the lockdown. Like in India, we are having lockdown 1.0, 2.0, and from today onwards, so the cinemas also, the union government has already approved to open the cinema or the movie theaters with the while following the proper guidelines. This is what the one of the example we are talking about, reducing the scale of the crisis, acknowledging the negative effects. Yes, this is what we can do there. As early as possible, we have to acknowledge there, and then try to softening the hard image of any of the crisis there. Maybe because crisis is crisis because we can say that within a mean we are not able to find the solution over it. It will take time, but yes, we have to work slowly and gradually to softening that, slowly and gradually to softening that. And then the next point is hosting spotlight sports. So these are the some of the initiatives one can do there. Spinning liabilities into assets. This is what that particular case have highlighted there. And then this is this particular case specific. So we're not talking much more about that. The third point is audience focused strategies. So one is source focused strategy. In tourism, we know that what is the importance of source markets for the destinations. Source markets where the business is originated. So what is the importance of that? Whenever we have to make policies, we're not supposed to make policies for all the source markets like equally, because every source market is having their own demand, having their own perceptions. So the DMOs have to make the policies likewise. Then the what kind of message we are giving to the market, and then audience focused strategies. So what about our consumers? In tourism, we call it like customers are the potential tourist, and then consumers are the actual tourists who already consume the tourist experience of the destination. So changing a target audience by addressing others. This is not all about like every time we have to work to multiply our target audience. We're not supposed like to stick to one target audience and we have to be remain there. It is thus the case like an emphasis on similarities and relevance. What is relevant in the present time, that is more important rather than. And we also know one thing, that what is relevant today, maybe it is not it will become irrelevant the next week. Dynamic nature of tourism. So this is the point. So these are some of the points in that particular cases, and then we're talking about the conclusion of that area. So restoring a positive image requires a multi-step holistic approach. This is what I was talking about in the previous case also. Holistic approach that combines practical measures to resolving the crisis. Like few of the examples in that case study, we'll learn out of it, like reducing hotel and flight prices, increasing safety. And here nowadays with safety, I told that health, that the hygiene is again important that we're talking about. And there is not just to remain focusing on this point, there is a need to advertise also. There is a need to communicate to the source markets that yes, we are ready to receive you with open arms. Yes, we are ready. So there are few more points that we can see that is written over there. And this is what like from that case, so we learn out of it, like how to improve the destination image by while taking that particular example. So Arab Spring uprising. The next, the third one, like that is based on the rebranding tourism hotspots. So it is more of the focus on this point, and it is after this thing. So this is what relevant even in the present pandemic. Let's try to understand the most important point in that particular case is first we'll understand that particular table. So here, communication strategies for the place in crisis and justification. So there is a need for that. Communication strategy for the place in crisis and then excuse. So we have to attack the accuser. So this is what 6 communication strategies for the places in crisis given by the Coombs. So this is what the important, how, where we have to take a backstage, where we have to be aggressive, where we have to accept that yes, this is our failure, and where we have to highlight our achievements. So this is again communication strategies, and that again that type of strategy is helping us when we're talking about the rebranding of the thing. So in that case, the background was like that. So Egypt wanted to dissociate itself from its negative past of political instability and violence. So due to that, that contributed to the negative publicity, because we know that positive publicity, it may take years to do it, but negative publicity is just spread like wildfire during that time. So disaster management for tourism, this is the point, has often focused on the post crisis recovery phase. So this is the point, like okay, we are in the mid crisis or during the crisis, but after that crisis be over, what should be our policies to come back at least in the market, so that maybe we won't have any kind of threat from our competitors. So this is study towards that particular destination. So this study also investigate the role of branding of that particular destination as a means of solving the current problem. So it highlights that. So from that study we learn out of it that branding is an essential tool when we're talking about repositioning the destination, and in order to effective, so there again we need the dynamic marketing strategy, and which is also crucial. Let's try to understand more point on that. See, so here we can see the problem there from 2005 this number to 2014 this number. So there is again a one problem from one of the source market of Sharm el Sheikh, and then there is again a problem from the other countries. So statistically, with the help of the inbound tourist arrivals, the numbers, again the problem is depicting there. Although there is a slightly change there, but not up to that. But from the other source markets, so there are problems there. Again, you can see that after 2010 to 14, so again the graphs from here to here, not up to that. Although there is a momentary boom in between when you're talking about the Egypt tourist arrivals, when we're talking about the annual percentage change there, and then the Egyptian hotel occupancy rate again nearby to the, we can say that similar lines we can see. So this is what the problem in that case, and that is why the DMO has decided to rebrand their rebrand their destination. So these were the important points there. The very first point that they focus on, it is again they focus on the security. Then the second point is mass media reaction toward our destination, what they are thinking. And then finally, they're talking about the rebranding. And when they have statistically testing that thing, so it's concluded that all the things supported. It means that whatever they have think before the study, whatever their hypothesis, or we can say the perception, whatever their thoughts about that, so that is again up to the mark. So these were the major 3 important points highlighted in that particular presentation. So in that the next few of the conclusion of that particular case studies, that branding may help change perception, but focusing marketing responses in times of crisis. So one thing that these type of cases proved the importance of branding, which is a super specialization of destination marketing. So how much it is important. Then next point, I'm firmly believing of that particular point, like local decision makers. So their role is important, because ultimately they will tell us about the ground zero reality, what is actually happening there, what lacks there. maybe the experts once they maybe have to any destination once or twice or even thrice, but they should have to consider, or normally they are considering, but they should have to consider what the local decision makers, what they see the things and all. And it is again, we can say, absolutely their responsibility. They have to come forward when they in the case of assess the damage that it is talking about. Like in nowadays in tourism we are talking about, like there are economical damage there, even the jobs also losses, so there is a kind of depression kind of there in the market. So there is a need that we have to assess it well, and while sitting at the over level maybe we're not able to do it. So here the role of local decision makers are important. Then we, after when the local decision makers are doing or analyzing the impact to the local tourism industry, definitely it will give the real picture over there. And finally, again we need the help of media. We need the help of media, because, and in that case also with the help of the positive media coverage, so that again destination come forward over there after those the declining statistics again come forward, and lifting travel warnings also. We know that what the impact of travel advisory when you're talking about destination arrival. So this is the important point in that particular cases. So in the whole three cases, few of the keywords are coming forward there, like when talking about destination image or rebranding, or how to improve the image, when we have to improve our security and as well as hygiene of the destination, the media relations and the direct advertising, what good in happening in our destination, there is a need to communicate there. So these are some of the we can say takeaways over there. After all that, let's try to understand what's the rebranding is all about. And when we're talking about how to rebrand following a crisis, so this is again the important point there. I told that plan B, C, that should be ready for all the situations. So the very first point, we have to do this. We have to do proactive crisis management. When the experts, we all, as well as academicians, as well as industry experts, we are working in a dynamic industry like tourism, we have to be proactive. We already, when we are talking about, and we are taking all the variables at a generic stage, we already having that in case of crisis, what should be our plan. So this is what written there when we talking about this thing. So proactive crisis management plan should be there, and we have to develop our tools like that. We'll be able to anticipate it, and then we have to work. We if first we have to work where we'll be able to prevent it, but it's not possible in tourism. But then we know how to prepare to address about that, uh, and to addressing it, the branding, the destination image, and the communication, that these areas really helping us. Second point is that responsive, how much we are responses, slowly and gradually. Maybe some in that particular case it's written there, sometime lot of crises merge together, and it's not uh, and that required a timely response, rather than we have to implement the policy like wait and watch. So it is advisable by the experts that we have to come forward and then plan the recovery as at the earliest, unless it will do a much more damage there. And then finally talking about the recovery of the crisis management. So when it's already too late to prevent the damage, so we have to start the recovery there. So even in the like example is giving over there, all the hotel industry is already facing a lot of problems. This is just one example, but on the other side, they have to prepare for future travel as best as they can. So this is what the important points when we're talking about how to rebrand following a crisis. So with the help of these three cases and these particular things, so I hope that we'll be able to learn out of few keywords that we already, and then we know that how much the branding or marketing really help us to come over there. So this is from the small talk from my side, uh, and so I'm welcoming your queries or your answers, your additions and your inputs that really improve my work further.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jeet. I would like to take the opportunity once again to thank you for joining at our virtual platform. So before we begin with the question and answering session, I would like to request Dr. Sultanul Aziz to have some remark on the presentation, if you may, please.
Thank you very much. As always, I would like to go over some of my memories in both Egypt and India, where crisis management, one of the things that he mentioned towards the end, this is the first thing I will mention. Big crisis, a big international event. And at a time when it was in my hand to say yes and no, and millions of dollars down the drain. So I had to take a decision. Not fully legal, and it was connected to doping control. And I went for the decision of compromise. 3 places in the world I had faced this situation. Only here it was without any reason and without any support. I waived the consideration. We were in Sheraton Hotel there, Sharm el-Sheikh, you know, all the global meetings got there, and they need sports events in lean times when the big events are not going. So this thing, sports events, I also did in India in several places. I won't go into that, but you can do a filler by events, whether sports or otherwise. And I would like to congratulate for his excellent presentation. And the proactive crisis management really hit me very big, because very often you have to do that. Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it can lead to explosion of people and groups. And we hope that you be kind enough to keep in touch with our department, and Yusuf Khan is very active, proactive, of course, and his team, and have some joint things together in one or a few of these items. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aziz. So now I would like to welcome some questions. I have already 2 requests, one from Sakib bin Alam and one from MD Imran Hussain. So I would like to begin with Sakib bin Alam to have your questions for Dr. Jeet.
Thank you, sir. I believe this is not the first time I have listened to Dr. Jeet's lecture. Actually, this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time. And actually, I was looking for a statistics, and I was wondering, the statistics is like that. Tourism has contribution of 10.4% to the world GDP. When it is come to India, it has the contribution to 9.2% in the year of 2018. But when it comes to Bangladesh, it is only 4.4% that the contribution of tourism in the Bangladesh GDP. So my question is that what is the credit actually? It is the credit of whom actually? Is the government or your administration are doing so much well, active work, pro-working, that's why you are getting the high advantage or high percentage of GDP? Or is it like that you already have so much tourist destination, because India is the biggest country, has so much cultural diversity. So what is the reason actually? Because I think we need to take some input from your country and some lessons and put it into our country. So thank you very much.
So first of all, thank you, Sakib, to ask the question. And before that, I would again like to be honored and thankful to Dr. Aziz, the greatest inputs there, and that really helped even to me also. And definitely I'll be there along with Dr. Yusuf to contribute to the university. And then come back to Sakib there. I know, Sakib, you are too much active on social media, and it's good to see that the people like you, the youngsters, so they are taking so much interest specifically in understanding about the tourism, and then to as much do care about our own native places and why is it so. And it's good to know that when we are able to ask the questions like why, when, where, how. So I think the students are on the right track. Let's come back to when we're talking about the contribution there. I just want to share few important points that, like before, it's not like that India is always giving preference to the tourism sector. No, being an agriculture oriented country, we always not giving preference to that particular sector. And whosoever the inbound tourist arrivals in India, majority of them, so they only have seen the golden triangle like Delhi, Agra, Jaipur, and after that they just fly away back to their native places. But when in 2014 the present prime minister, when that tourism, so he introduced 5 T's, and out of that one T is tourism. It means that first the union government have take that tourism as a serious sector, and they make it as the government priority area. Then the real, we can say, the real upbringing of that sector has already been started there. And then once the government is giving the preference over preference there, and then he also issuing the guidelines to all these state governments, destination management organizations, that now this is the time, like we are having the mountains to the coastal areas, to the desert, to the green area. It means that all the tourism products, whether it's the major tourism products or whether it's the niche tourism areas, but there is a time to market it, there is a time to branding it, there is a time. You can see just one example from the last so many years, like 5-6 years. I've observed one thing, that every state government, every state of India, so they already having their own tourism tagline. Although that is a very minor thing, but in marketing or branding, this really impacts a lot. Then you have your own logo, then you have your own tagline. So that really makes an impact there, because previously we are not giving preference to these kind of things all over. What will make that tagline there? But now Incredible India, that is a campaign for the overall country, but then every state government is having their own tagline. Like right now I'm there in the central India, the state of Madhya Pradesh, and they having their own tagline, the heart of Incredible India. Similarly, for the every state government is having their own taglines. This is the first thing. Second thing, still there is a long journey when we're talking about the Indian tourism sector is concerned. As an academician, I firmly believe that, because I firmly believe that research-oriented thoughts, research-oriented policies, when we are referring the research there, and then afterwards we are making any policies there, that really make an impact. Because the job of research is to minimize the error. So we are not saying that we'll eradicate all the errors there, but the job of, and when we are relying on the research making information or the knowledge, and then we are considering it while implementing the policies there, so definitely we'll see a change. So I still remember when I joined this organization, Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, which is the body of Ministry of Tourism. 2012 onwards, the government has given a lot of funds and lot of even the you can say priority for the towards the tourism research. Even on MO2 website, you can see there are a lot of already research we already published there. One of my research project of given there in the year 2015 and then submitted after 1 year. So that based on the social media and how is it impact on the image of India. So we have done that study. The sample size more than 2,400 of foreign tourist arrivals here from the more than 80 countries. So these kind of, and then it's not all about we finish the research project, we submit to the funding agency and they'll keep in their archive section. No way. On the very same day, the people there, so they have referred that research and make a policy out of it, and you'll see the change. Now, MOT, Incredible India website, it is there in every language, and there are ample of other things that there is a need to do it. My only suggestion, my only point that I have felt from the last 1 decade of my career as an academician, and before that I was working in tourism industry, the impact of research, that is huge. If we really give the importance to, we have to take decision, but let's do some of the sample tests, let's do some of the research work before that, let's do our homework well. And when we are considering that information, and we are considering that knowledge, we are taking care of that knowledge, and we're making the policy. You'll see a change in that. You'll see, because that is again based on some of the things. There is one example, like you want to purchase any laptop, and randomly if you purchase anything, obviously you'll be at the end of the day you'll disappoint, and before that you'll make a one Excel sheet, you'll do the comparisons basis on whatever the configurations, the value for money and all these parameters over there, and then definitely it will make an impact. This is as simple as that. In tourism, I'm not saying that tourism is again a formula of 2 plus 2 equal to 4. No way, because this is people oriented, and it is we can say it is human emotions involved in that, and we are not every time cribbing the government. Oh, come on, government is not doing anything. Normally in Asian countries, this is what happening. South Asia, this is what happening here. I live in Jammu, that is my native place, and when I joined MBA, I was just roaming around my village area and what is the specialities there, what are the USPs there, and then I started writing articles and giving to the local newspapers there. Slowly and gradually, that really helped even to know to the locals, okay, we are having a one spot there nearby to our 30 kilometers. I think this is what like a very minor thing. But as a tourism student, as a tourism academician or researcher, we have to take that responsibility on our shoulders, like, no, this is my responsibility. Every time I'm not going to crib that. Every time I'm not coming with that statistic, like, look, that this is not doing and this is that is not doing. No, the point is that we have to ask, if we really attach with that sector, there is a need, even my message to the youngster, that we have to ask to ourselves, what is my contribution? Contribution doesn't mean that I have to convert one offbeat destination to the mass destination. That is a huge thing, but at least what is my contribution? If an academician is not at least writing few sentences and publish in a local newspaper, just to make the awareness among our students, among our masses, among our city people there. So I think that is what one kind of a very smaller help. And these penny make so many. This is what the point that I just want to convey. So yes, at the government level, at the union government level, to the local agencies level there, even India has really gave the importance to the niche areas. Like a few months back, I was doing one research project on film tourism, how that film tourism had transformed the because we are having Bollywood, so how that film tourism had transformed the villages, lesser known villages there. So there are so many things that we can explore there, and there are a lot of takeaways from the Bangladesh government. Even you asked that question, so. But my point is that as a student, we have to take the responsibility as the one of the stakeholder of the tourism. We have to take the responsibility in that. Every class of mine, I'm always giving the assignments to my students. Okay, this is what you have to explore the destination. There is one area like folklores. Folklores is very important. Like, it is again one of the unique selling proportion of any destination. Every destination is having their own story. So let publish it, let document it, let put it on our blogs, on the internet, let the people will read it, because that type of smaller things will generate the curiosity among the potential tourists. So when they are having, okay, I just want to visit that place. So this is what, that could be one of our contributions there. And Saqib, you are already doing well. You are showing so much interest, specifically on the social media, and I'm so glad to see that, specifically on LinkedIn and Facebook. Go ahead, and thanks for the question.
Thank you, sir.
I think next question, Imran Hussain. He wants to ask something.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Sir,
please.
I heard your name lots of times, sir. It's an honor and my pleasure to ask you a question, sir. I'm
Please,
really
please.
happy. Sir, my question about is rebranding tourism hotspots after crisis, sir. So my question is like, if like an international place like India, Darjeeling, where lots of international people also come, or foreigner come, we also want to go there, sir. If there is some crisis or something like, sir, terrorist attacks are happen in there, is this possible? If we give the security, well, media or social, lots of things that we needed to give them, we need to get back those percentage that people are come in that area, like that. Is it possible for to get that percentage before actually it occurred?
Yes, you are absolutely right, Imran. Thanks for the question. But one point is that we can't ignore crisis. Another point is that there is a need to assess that because of X crisis, which one of the area is having a decline in the confidence, maybe due to this current pandemic. So the priority area of the now the people is that they just want that whatever the destination they'll visit, that is that the destination management organization give the personal hygiene or the medical help, or this is on a priority area. So that is their priority area of this crisis. So every crisis is if showing us that there are different priority areas for the different crises. It is not always like economic crisis is having a different priority areas. So they'll give us what I'm trying to convey to you, that when we're talking about these kind of the attacks and all these things, so here the priority area of the visitor, so that automatically will change. And you're taking out like this destination is suffering from that attack, so definitely in during that, when we have to again rebrand that destination, we are not supposed to make our advertisement specifically that we are 100% giving medical help. Come on, the medical help is not gonna help to overcome in that crisis. Which one is overcoming? So the particularly the thing that help us, that we have to give a message to our source markets that our destination is full secure, we are providing the security to you. The point is that what as far as your question is concerned, so every crisis is having their own priority area. So there is a need to jot down it. There is a need to make that, like if a crisis will happen, so that should be our recovery plan. If a b crisis will happen, so we have to note down. And then the important point is that there is a need to go through the past events as critically as possible, like this thing happened and that thing. I just give a one example, like yes. I just want to give one example there, like if you people are doing undergraduate or postgraduate courses, like suppose postgraduate courses, normally it's of a 2 years duration, maximum 1.5 to 2 years. So if every month you will just read one case study, so you will see that how much case studies during your student years, how much case study you will take care of that. So it means that 2 years mean 24 different case studies. I mean, it means you already know about 24 different past events there, which then once you'll become the manager, definitely you will having that kind of learning along with you. So that is one become your archery more stronger day by day. But then the point is that if students will implement it, definitely they will help in that. The again from where I came to know about all these points, again I have implemented go back to my basics and done everything there. So this is again my suggestions to you people over there. If you people are doing undergraduate postgraduate courses, try to learn these kind of try to read about that cases, like this thing happened and that this is what the recovery plan, or this is what the you can say come out from that particular crisis or from any situation. So then also, because when we're having that kind of you can say the literature knowledge, the practical case studies, we already go through it from across the globe, comparatively easier for us to deal with the situation. But it doesn't guarantee you once you'll be there in the market, once you'll there in the organization to implement your skills. Maybe those all things will really help you, but again that give a different kind of confidence to you. This is what the point. So every crisis is having their own priorities. We have to deal likewise.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Imran. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both Imran and Dr. Jeet. I think we will not take any further question for today. And thank you, Dr. Jeet. It was an honor to have you at our platform. Thank you very much. And we shall think on further communication in if we have any
Definitely,
mutual
definitely.
interest. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf Khan, and thank you, Dr. Aziz. Okay, have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, all the audience, for joining with us at our World Chair platform. We will be live from tomorrow exactly at 9:30. So I would like to request all of you to join prior to 9:30, because 9:30 our Dhaka time we will have Professor Dr. Chihan from South Florida United States of America. It will be midnight at United States of America. So he has kindly given his consent to be with us, even though it is midnight at United States of America. So I would like to request all the students, please please consider this and be on our platform at least 15 minutes earlier to 9:30. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have all of you at the platform, and I will see you on tomorrow early morning. Thank you very much.